So there's this really weird legal puzzle in Japan, and it's putting young people in a pretty dangerous spot. Today, we're going to dive into this maze of vaping laws to find a huge loophole. And you won't believe it, this whole thing kicks off with an arrest that, well, it shouldn't have even been possible.
Okay, so let's set the scene. This whole thing starts with something that really shouldn't have happened. Not long ago, for the first time ever in Japan, police in Osaka arrested a university student from Kyoto, and the charge? Illegally selling e-liquid that contained nicotine.
Okay, and this is where things get really weird. The reason this arrest was such a big deal is because e-liquids with nicotine have never even been approved for sale in Japan. So, wait a minute. How can you get arrested for selling something that's not even supposed to be for sale here to begin with? It just doesn't add up.
All right, to get to the bottom of this, we've got to talk about the tech. And this is a huge point of confusion, especially if you're a parent, because it's so easy to get them mixed up. We need to pull apart two totally different devices that people always lump together. E-cigarettes, vapes, and heated tobacco products.
So when it comes to Japanese law, the whole thing, the entire legal difference boils down to one super simple question. Is there an actual physical tobacco leaf in it? The presence of that plant is what changes everything in the eyes of the law.
So check this out, because this slide really lays out that big legal divide. On one side, you've got heated tobacco products, things like IQOS. They use these little sticks made of real processed tobacco leaf. And since the leaf naturally has nicotine, the law considers them a tobacco product. But then on the other side, you've got e-cigarettes. They don't use a leaf at all, they use a liquid. And in Japan, that liquid is sold with zero nicotine, which means, legally speaking, they are not tobacco products.
So because one uses a leaf and the other uses a liquid, these two devices, which, let's be honest, look pretty similar, end up being governed by two totally separate and honestly conflicting sets of laws. And they're even managed by different parts of the government.
And this right here just perfectly shows what a regulatory mess this is. You've got the Tobacco Business Act, which is handled by the Ministry of Finance. That covers heated tobacco. It basically treats them like regular cigarettes. Simple rule, you can't use them if you're under 20. But liquid nicotine? That falls under a whole different law, the Pharmaceutical and Medical Device Act. And that's the Ministry of Health's territory. They don't see it as a fun product. They classify it as a powerful, unapproved medicine. Think of it like a strictly controlled drug.
And that slingshots us right back to the million-dollar question. If this liquid nicotine is treated like some kind of powerful, unapproved drug that's illegal to sell, how in the world is it even getting into Japan, let alone ending up in the hands of kids?
You might be thinking, oh, it must be some shady black market deal, right? Nope. The answer is actually written right into the law itself. It's a loophole in the Pharmaceutical and Medical Device Act, and believe me, it is massive.
Okay, so here it is. This is the whole trick. First, the law says, nope, you can't sell unapproved medicines like nicotine liquid. Pretty clear. But then, and this is the key, it has this little exception. It says, individuals can import these things from other countries for their own personal use. And here's the kicker, the part that's just mind-boggling. That personal use rule, it has zero age restriction. None. So a teenager can't legally buy a heated tobacco stick, but they can go online, order a powerful, addictive, and unapproved chemical from overseas and have it shipped right to their front door.
It's just like science journalist Masahiko Ishida said, e-cigarettes with nicotine are a product that has completely fallen through the cracks of the law. Think about it. It's not a tobacco product, so boom, the age limit is gone. It is an unapproved medicine, but that personal import loophole just lets people waltz right past the sales ban. It's a total blind spot in the system.
Okay, so we've untangled that legal knot. But now let's talk about the real-world fallout. What does this actually mean for people's health? Because the dangers here are way bigger than just legal paperwork.
There's this really common and really dangerous idea floating around that if an e-liquid doesn't have nicotine, it must be safe. But we have tragic proof from other countries that this is just not true. At all. Vaping anything can be incredibly risky. Just think back to 2019. There was this huge outbreak of really severe lung injuries in the US. The condition, which they called EVALI, was directly linked to vaping. It killed almost 100 people, and a lot of them were young adults. This was all a direct result of just inhaling these vaporized liquids. It proves the danger is so much bigger than just nicotine.
So you're really looking at a double whammy of risks here. First off, the liquids themselves can be filled with all sorts of unknown, harmful stuff, and the vapor itself can just wreck your lungs. And then there's the nicotine. We all know it's super addictive, but it also constricts your blood vessels and, get this, new research is even suggesting it might act like a fertilizer for cancer, helping tumors grow and spread faster.
So where does this leave us? Especially if you're a parent, what's the big takeaway here? Well, we're basically looking at a perfect storm, a combination of legal loopholes, cool new technology, and the simple fact that vaping is becoming normalized.
Think about it. When kids see adults all over the place using these cool, high-tech, heated tobacco devices, which look almost exactly like e-cigarettes, their natural defenses just go down. Suddenly, vaping just seems normal. And that sparks their curiosity. It makes them way more likely to try an e-cigarette, and they have no idea it could be packed with addictive nicotine or other dangerous chemicals that came in through this crazy legal loophole.
And all of this really boils down to one final critical question. We live in a world where technology like this is just evolving at lightning speed, way faster than our laws can ever hope to catch up, and that creates a gap, a huge one. And right now, it's Japan's kids who have fallen right into that gap. They're left completely unprotected by a system that, frankly, just failed to see them coming.